Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. Today we're breaking down UFC Jacksonville. That's right, back on the road. And we got a man who was just right there in the title contention picture, Josh Emmett, squaring off against a legitimate, I don't even know if we can call him a dark horse. This is a true legitimate contender. Ilia, Topuria, undefeated, went up a weight class, secured a knockout. He's back down here. It's going to be a fun one for sure. And folks, I'm going to start us off with a little bit of a shameless plug to kind of kick things off. If you've been following the channel recently, you probably saw that we did just drop an interview with Valerie Maiha Soto. She is a LFA strawweight, and she's going to be fighting Catherine Paprocki. And if you know that name, Tough 30, she was a alumni of Tough 30. So I say all of this just to say, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. It'll be posted right here. You'll probably see a little snippet of it right here. But we're getting back to the roots. Expect a little bit more of that. We're trying to get back to the good old days, but this is the Bloody Water Podcast, and this is your favorite fighter's favorite fight show. But that statement is not true unless I bring in my co-host, the Santa Fe Bomber himself, the New Mexico native, the leader on the head-to-head scoreboard, the competition, brother AJ. How are you feeling, man?
Woo, Derick, I'm feeling well, my brother. I'm living well over here. And folks, if you didn't catch the message, I'm doubling down because there's a reason why we're your favorite fighter's favorite fight show. We bring you sleepers all the time, but this is just another one with an interview coming up, man. If you don't know, the stars of tomorrow are formed today, and we're right there with y'all, grinding it out with them, man. It's a lot of fun. Join up. Like Derick said, click that button he just showed y'all. Derick, I'm living well, my brother. How you doing?
I'm feeling good, man. We've been busy. Like we've been telling people, we've been working behind the scenes, y'all. And on top of that work, what else are we doing? We're still doing the same old grind, the film study, the preparation, talking about the sleepers, talking about all of the wagers that we're going to break down here today. So with that being said, if you haven't subscribed yet, I'm not sure exactly what you're waiting for, but if you're a real one, you'll share this with your friends, share it with the people that you care about, and then come back here and hit subscribe one more time. You already know what time it is. All right, man. AJ, let's jump straight into some TLDR, man. Just a quick overview of the picks here. And I'm going to take it down here in a second. You know the drill, though, right? Consensus picks, Ilia Topuria, Justin the Bad Man Tafa, and Brendan Allen. So 5 fights here today, AJ. 3 of them are consensus picks, which means we have a little bit of contention going back and forth. And to not really talk too much about it, I want your thoughts off the bat. Just let the people know who only came here just to watch the first 5 minutes or whatnot. You like Maycee Barber over Amanda Ribas, is that correct?
I do, Derick. Going against one of my favorite fighters in the female divisions of any sort, man. I love Amanda Ribas. Maycee Barber's been a problem as of late, man. I'm excited to break that one down with you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to break it down. And you know I got some strong feelings here. But just know this is an interesting bout because both of these fighters, they're going up and down. Flyweight, strawweight, what's it going to be? And both of them have kind of alluded to, depending on how this fight goes, we'll see what weight class I'm going to stick around in. So it's something you got to keep your eyes on. The other one, I was actually interested in this one because this probably goes against what people know about what I've talked about for the fight game. But Gabriel Santos versus David Onama. Now, AJ, I've historically been a big Onama backer, right? Even in the Landwehr fight that he lost. But it looks like you like David Onama here, and I'm going to rock with Santos on this one. I just want you to give me a quick sentence or two, man. What do you like about David Onama here?
Derick, as much as I do like Gabriel Santos, man, this one's a razor thin one. Onama, I'll give it quick, short, simple. I like that power, brother.
That's right. That's right. And I'm not going to lie to you folks. We'll talk about it more. But if you're looking for one of the biggest live dogs on this entire card, you have to think about David Onama in this spot. He's been a favorite in all 4 of his UFC fights thus far or something like that. Now he's like a pretty major underdog. We'll talk about it. All right, folks, that is your TLDR if you want to call it that. I'm going to pop it up one more time. Take a screenshot, run to your sports book, come back, hit the comments, and then thank us for all the diligent money that we made you, the work that we've been putting in for you. AJ, another shameless plug before we get started. Where can the people find you on Twitch?
Twitch.tv/Santa Fe Bomber, folks. You see the name down there, wherever it is. You see it on Instagram, Twitch.tv. Go join us, man. We're breaking things down, doing some art, doing a lot of different things, man. Doing all the stuff I love, and that's the best part about it. Y'all get to join in there. You get to be a part of that happening, going on. Go jump in the chat. But like we said, man, Twitch.tv/Santa Fe Bomber.
That's right. And with that being said, all the plugs have been taken care of. Let's talk about some fights. Let's talk about this main event. Let's get it.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
AJ, I think this main event that we have right here between Josh Emmett and Ilia Topuria is a very clear indication of what the UFC machine will do to you if you're in that older range of a fighter, you just had your opportunity for a title eliminator and you lost. You get fed into the machine. So you have to serve a role as a fighter. And it looks like the role of Josh Emmett in this one is, can you beat the next big thing in the featherweight division? Can you stave him off, and can you earn your ranking in this division? Meaning that should you belong in this top 5, right? Now, Ilia Topuria is one of the few undefeated guys left in the UFC that is on a real rampage. And we haven't seen too many people stopping him. But here's my question to you. Josh Emmett just fought Yair Rodriguez. Some people are saying that he has a real opportunity to beat Volkanovski for that belt. Is there a drop-off in talent between Yair Rodriguez and Ilia Topuria? Or are you just taking one beast and going straight to the next?
I think you're going beast to beast, Derick. I mean, Ilia Topuria is a different kind of beast than Yair Rodriguez, admittedly, but he's still a caged animal on his own, literally in there fighting, man. Yeah. The thing about Josh Emmett, though, what I'm curious, Derick, is it always just takes one good left hand from him. Mm-hmm. Can Ilia Topuria stay perfect? Because as much as this is Josh Emmett having to be, eat or be eaten, if you will, this is also Ilia Topuria getting his chance to solidify himself at the dinner table, chomping at the bit to get that gold. Can he stay perfect, though? Because I do think he's the better fighter, but as we've seen, he's not always the better fighter wins the night of. Do you think he can stay perfect, Derick?
I'm not even sure if it's a matter of being perfect. I don't know if that's the scenario that we should be drawing up with this fight, because Josh Emmett, yes, if he lands with one of those tenacious hooks, will you go to sleep? Like, most likely, right? Like, you will get put down. And did we see Ilia Topuria get hurt against Jai Herbert? Like, we absolutely did. That was like some shaky legs right there. But then the man went up a weight class, fought a big, tall, long, powerful dude, right? That's known for knocking people out. So I think that the real question here is not whether he can stay perfect, but will he mix up his game enough to where Josh Emmett's opportunities to land the big shot get taken away? And I'm going to just push that back to you. What do you think?
I think he will, Derick. And that's why I like Ilia Topuria in this fight, because he's so tenacious at whichever one he's trying, whether it's a stand-up, whether it's a ground game. Ilia Topuria's pressure is impeccable, man. This dude gets after it. That's why he's one of, like you said, Derick, no longer a dark horse. Mm-hmm. This horse has came to light. He's taken the lead a little bit. Now it's the time to really shine. I like him a lot for that aspect. The big question I was having was Josh Emmett. You said it yourself, Derick. When Ilia Topuria went up, he fought Jai Herbert, a bigger guy. If you look at the way the build of Josh Emmett has against, especially in that Yair Rodriguez fight or the Calvin Kattar, he's a big dude. He's going in there big. Ilia Topuria has seemed to be smaller. And maybe it was because I was looking at the Jai Herbert fight. That Ilia, I was like, this guy really is a featherweight. Do you think the size is going to matter? We said the power. I said the power will. Do you think the size will?
Size always does matter, but I think size can also be deceiving, right? Guys who don't have the big stocky build of a Josh Emmett can't sit there and rely on the plotting, I'm just going to corner you and drop the big bomb. You have to use your footwork, which I think is going to be the big X factor in this one. You have to use your footwork to create the openings, and Ilia Topuria has a really, really good knack of lulling you into the spot he wants to hit you in. So he's not forcibly catching the angle, rather he's setting up with his footwork you to be over here so he can land the big left hook to the body, or whatever the case may be. So let me ask you this, man. This is actually a big interesting point that I see between Josh Emmett against Yair Rodriguez versus Topuria. Yair is nonstop crazy kicks from the craziest, wackiest angles you can imagine. When's the last time you seen Ilia Topuria throw like a legit like head kick to anybody? Like, he does the majority of his work with the hands in a pure boxing match. So how does that, I'm imagining that will give Josh Emmett a couple more opportunities to land the big shot. Yair could keep him at range because he could hit him from so far out and then come in with the hands. Ilia, it's not that he doesn't have the kicks. I just think he chooses not to use them. What do you think?
Yeah, I was trying to rack my brain of when we seen Ilia Topuria last throw a head kick, and maybe in the Ryan Hall fight, just because he was somewhat having fun. But even at that point, I doubt it, because you don't want Ryan Hall to grab your legs. I don't remember for the main part, Derick.
Yeah.
Now, can Ilia Topuria put Josh Emmett in the kind of spots that is allowing Ilia Topuria to better himself in the fight? I think so, especially because Josh Emmett has a tendency to let the opponent take the lead. He doesn't mind backing himself up, getting himself against a cage. Once he sees that black line on the front foot, he's swinging and banging. So if Josh Emmett allows himself to really be controlled in that chest motion, I see bad things for him. Derick, do you see it the same?
Yeah, I kind of do, man. I kind of do. It's just tough, man, because this is one of those things where you look at Josh Emmett's career and you look at his last two losses. His last two losses have both been finishes, right, where he's been finished. Only times he's been finished, I believe, in his entire career. So it's not like they were back-to-back, man. This was years and years apart. But at the end of the day, you have to take into consideration, like, all right, now you're starting to get caught a little bit. Now the chin is starting to wear a little bit. Does that mean that the chin is gone? That's an overreaction. I don't think that's true. But I do think when you have a young, hungry Ilia Topuria who says, I have one goal, and that goal is to be the champion, and I don't care about anything else, and no money fights, nothing like that. I want to be champ, and I'm undefeated, and I'm coming to take your head off. I don't know. He comes with a supreme confidence that makes you very, very confident in him. So last part of this equation here, the ground game. Josh Emmett's got good wrestling, right? He could take you down and he can maintain top control. I actually think that he statistically is one of the leaders in top control, and not being in disadvantageous spots in the UFC's history, right? Before Jeremy Stevens. So my question is, Ilia Topuria, certified black belt, legitimate black belt, has 8 submission wins on his record or something like that. Do we see him say, I'm going to just take away the power by just putting you on the ground and I'm just going to start working submissions? What do you think?
I think we might, Derick. That was one of the big things I was going over because you're right. Josh Emmett has struggled with the submissions, at least as of late. His latest loss was the submission by Yair. And in Topuria's last fight, he did very well in the ground game against another absolutely dangerous man on the ground, Bryce Mitchell. Not saying Bryce Mitchell and Josh Emmett are the same type of wrestler, type of ground technician, because they're not. But I think he does very well against that kind of power, uses the power against Josh Emmett and really control him on his own. It sounds like an easier thing to be done it sounds easier than done. You know what I'm saying? Because Josh Emmett has the power to just say, fuck it, I'm standing right up. And he does open some holes that way. Do you see it the same?
Yeah, I'll say this, man. I think Topuria, if you look at just on paper, you'd imagine this dude is, he submitted Bryce Mitchell. He beat up Bryce Mitchell with the hand and then opened up the submission. So I think that's the whole entire thing. His game weaves into all the other different martial arts together. Josh Emmett, I think the game plan is very clear. He lets everybody know, if I tag you with one of these hooks, it is game over. If I hit you with the power jab, it could be game over. The same way that he did I think he hit a power jab against Mirsad Bektik or something like that, man. It was a good one, but the odds, they kind of make sense. Minus 335 Topuria, plus 260 for Emmett. It doesn't make sense because Emmett is so much more credentialed and fought such better opposition, but it does make sense just on the rampage that Topuria has been on. It's not like he's not a tested contender as well. I think we should really just talk about how we see this one taking place, man. So clearly we both like Topuria here, but how does he get it done?
I'm thinking submission, Derick, plus 140 submission. There's a reason it's always the lowest for at least the odds makers. I thought KO instantly, but seeing how things have been happening, I think Josh Emmett's chin is still there. Give me the club and sub, submission round 2.
I think Josh Emmett's chin is still there, and that's why I got Ilia Topuria. Give me the TKO. Give me round 3 TKO, and I don't see this being I'm going to crack you in your head and knock you out. What was the problem that he had with the Yair? You get hit in the sweet spot right there in your liver. We know Topuria mixes it up very well with his boxing. So all it's going to be is either I'm going to hit you to the liver, come up over the top like he did to Jai Herbert, or why not be the other way? I'm going to fake up top, come down to the body, get you out of there. Either way, I like Topuria, KO, and then, I'm sorry, AJ, which one did you say?
I said round 2.
Round 2. TKO though, yeah?
Oh, me? Submission.
Submission, that's right. Submission. All right, sorry
submission
about
round
that.
2.
TKO 3 for me. And with that being said, we see finishes. We have high hopes here for Ilia Topuria. Do not discount Josh Emmett, but I just think that momentum. I talk about it so much on this show, man. Momentum is a hell of a thing, and the momentum is in favor of Ilia Topuria. All right, that's going to be a really good main event right there, man. This is like kind of a sleeper card, but there's some really fun fights on here. And another fun one is Amanda Ribas versus Maycee Barber. Interesting one because Ribas, ranked number 9 at flyweight, is taking on number 11 Maycee Barber. And you could look at it like, well, Maycee Barber is on a 4-fight win streak. She is on a demolition path. She's back to the route of I want to be the champion. One of her controversial losses, not really controversial, but Alexa Grasso, right, where she's calling for that one, clamoring for the Alexa Grasso rematch now that Grasso is number 1 pound for pound in the world, interestingly enough. But let's take a look, man. Andrea Lee, Miranda Maverick, AJ. Let's address the elephant in the room. Talk to me about those 2 fights.
The 2 fights or the 2 fighters?
No, the 2 fights. The Maycee Barber versus Andrea Lee and Maycee Barber versus Miranda Maverick.
Controversial.
Yes.
Derek, the might not have actually gone the way. The get the hoodie out, get the mask on, and let's go. Yeah, I mean the split decisions, Derek. Those have plagued, or I guess, if you're Maycee Barber's way, have gone the way of Maycee Barber. So they are always an asterisk in the record making for Maycee Barber.
It's tough because the Andrea Lee one, after time and reflection, a little less egregious, right? Miranda Maverick, though, that one was very, very egregious right there. I don't care what anybody says. So when you look at this win streak, you do have to put a little bit of a discount on it, right? You squeaked past Andrea Lee and Miranda Maverick. Arguably, your 2 legit wins, Jessica I, Montana De La Rosa, right? Those are legit wins. Now you look at Amanda Ribas, and then we're talking about just beat Viviane Araújo, right? You had a fight of the night with Caitlin Chikagian, ended up losing that one. You beat Vina Jandiroba, which I can't explain how impressive that is. Lost to Marina Rodriguez, the double knockout on that one. And then aside from that, you got wins over Mackenzie Dern, Randa Marcos, Paige Van Zandt. I'm just saying the hit list goes a little bit deeper with Amanda Ribas. Now let's talk about the X's and O's. Maycee Barber's number 1 path to victory, generally speaking, strong frames to keep her opponent off of her, clinch work. She has had improved striking. You have to give her that. You cannot just discount her. Her striking has improved. But I think close range, closing the distance, bullying in the clinch is the path to victory for Maycee Barber. Do you think that game plan works against a very skillful Muay Thai practitioner in Amanda Ribas, who also has ridiculously good jiu-jitsu?
Not on paper, Derek. Not on paper at all. But the one part I do think favors Maycee Barber in that is she likes to make this a scrap. If her opponent is willing to sit in that clinch and to play the Muay Thai, then she's in a little bit more of a trouble. Amanda Ribas, she is always down to swing and always down to make this a dirty, bloody fight. And that's kind of where Maycee Barber's wheelhouse is. That's her most, I feel like, comfortable spot. We've seen her be a little more technical lately. We've seen her kind of, like you said, work her hands better. She is getting more fluid on the feet. But when she was always her dangerous, bro, she is just like a Tasmanian devil out there. And Amanda Ribas kind of suffers when people are putting the pressure on her. If she's able to sit back and, like you said, be a technician, be the Muay Thai, be the jiu-jitsu specialist that she is, very, very dangerous. But when the scrap is happening, when the tumbles are going down, sometimes Amanda Ribas struggles just being a step behind. Not for lack of willingness, Derek, at all. But would you agree, or do you see something different in those X factors?
I mean, I think that's fair to say, but I think it's also hard to compare Maycee Barber to her first couple fights where she looked like an absolute phenom, because we kind of saw don't get me wrong, man. She's a very good fighter. It's like that. I know there's a lot of hate that comes her way. She's a very good fighter. But I do think there's been a little bit of a stall in the progression. We haven't seen a lot of new tricks come out the bag. We've seen a little bit of increased striking, but I haven't seen anything that I'm like, wow, she's really adding layers to the game. Amanda Ribas, on the other hand, bro, that win over Viviane Araújo, that was impressive, bro. She got beat up in that fight, right? But still, she was able to outclass the bigger, stronger opponent, who you have to think about. If you say Maycee Barber has a strength advantage, I mean, Viviane Araújo is a strong fighter right there. So I think that's indicative of what Ribas can do at 115 or 125, right? So, chin. Let's talk about that. Maycee Barber lands a good one to Amanda Ribas. You have to be worried about the chin, especially because she has looked a touch chinny as of late. But do you take into consideration at 125, where she says herself, she feels so much better at 125. She's more full. You know what I mean? She's stronger, all that. Do you think that the chin solidifies at 125 versus 115?
Ooh, well, I will preface, Derek. I think that's a loaded question for me, a Ribas fan, because that's one of the things I like about her most is she is game, Derek. She's game to bite down on the mouthpiece and keep on swinging with you. And I'm hoping that's going to be the case because she, like you said, you're a little more filled out. You're not as drained. You've eaten a little bit better. You have some water in you. She's going to be feeling better, which usually means there's at least what history has proven. You can take a little bit more punishment. Now, against Maycee Barber, I think a big turning point was when she did lose to the Roxanne Modafferi with the knee injury. Because you're right, she kind of lost that animal instinct, that kind of buzzsaw mentality that she had because she was kind of forced to. you're down, you're missing not as the same muscles or the same tendons as you had. So you got to be able to develop those skills. Will the skill gap take over, and will the progression of Maycee Barber cease with Amanda Ribas? I just think it's such a perfect opposition to present just that nice level of hardness and just that nice level of this fight falls right into your wheelhouse. So I think that's what makes this fight fun and also hard to choose, and especially for me, like I said, a Ribas fan.
Bro, on paper, I'm not going to lie to you. I like Maycee Barber on paper in this fight. I think that she's bigger, she's stronger. I think that if she can dictate where this fight takes place, she can win. But when you look at that real X's and O's, man, I don't know if Maycee Barber wants to be very, very eager to be like, let me take down Amanda Ribas. I don't know if you want to be in Amanda Ribas's guard. I think that voluntarily you probably don't want to be there. If anything, try to work the clinch, try to avoid the takedown, and just do what Maycee Barber clearly has been doing to win these fights. So that's the tough part, is the judges somehow, some way, they keep giving her the fight, right? So let's see if Amanda Ribas can steal one. But if you have minus 200 odds right here, I mean, people are feeling pretty good, odds makers at least, about Amanda Ribas. This is the clear thing I want to talk about. Odds makers are saying plus 2,200 for the TKO for Ribas. They don't think that she can finish her on the feet. It's going to have to be a submission, right? And they're saying for Barber, tough time winning a decision. You're probably going to have to knock her out to win plus 350 TKO. So when you're looking at the odds makers and the sports books and the people in Vegas setting the lines or whatever, right? I mean, what does this tell you? Because I'll tell you this. I don't like the number. I'm going to choose this anyways. I don't like this number. I would not use this number. I'm going to take the minus 115 decision for Amanda Ribas. Stay away from that. Use minus 200 money line, but I'll take that minus 115 decision. What do you think?
Yeah, Derek, it's interesting, especially since you highlighted the fact that Maycee Barber is on the right side of the robberies, if you will. You know, she has some of that magic in her that just seems to have the judges go. Whether they're choosing for control or damage, Maycee Barber is always on the right side of that coin. It's interesting because I don't see Amanda Ribas knocking out Maycee Barber either. And I don't know, the decision, it's crazy because as of late, Maycee Barber has gotten better in her gas tank.
Yeah.
Personally, Derek, I'm going Maycee Barber. Damn, and I'm going TKO because I don't feel as confident in her in that decision as well, even though, I mean, like we said, she's on the right side of the coin. Hopefully it ends in a TKO. Stay away from the judges. Yeah, I like that one a lot best, Derek. TKO round 2. Let's go a little later.
Okay, and you got to take into consideration, too, Amanda Ribas, her last loss was a split decision loss against Katlyn Chookagian. So she was not on the right side of that one. I don't know. This is going to be a good one. There's a reason this is in the co-main event slot right there. All right, man, let's talk about a banging heavyweight bout right here. And normally, man, you see Justin Tafa and they give him another big dude, and it's going to, we're going to have to see what's up with just two big dudes swinging and banging. They gave him a big dude, AJ, but this dude is big in different reasons. You got former, a Jacksonville Jaguar, Austen Lane, right? Former NFL dude comes in, monster of a man. This is what's interesting. I'm getting Mark Hunt vibes right here from Justin Tafa in this matchup. You're fighting a 6'6", 80-inch reach Austen Lane, and somehow Justin the Badman Tafa is a minus 175 favorite against a dude who can hit you from the other side of the cage and you can't even touch him. You got John Jones-esque reach right here. Not quite, but still. Man, what do you like about this matchup, man? We know Tafa can swing and bang with the best of them, but we also know, I mean, dog, he has losses to Jared Vanderaa, Carlos Felipe, and Yorgan De Castro. So you can't sit here and have the supreme confidence in Justin Tafa. It is a heavyweight fight after all, but there is something. I do feel like we're both kind of leaning towards it a little bit. What do you think?
I think it's the experience, Derek. We were talking in the last fight about a switch being had in Maycee Barber. Well, I also think there was a switch that happened in Justin Tafa. Mm-hmm. He went from the classic schoolyard bully, the classic just brawler. I'm in there just to have some fun, throw my hands around, and let's get after it. Mm-hmm. We all love that. But when you're at the pinnacle of the sport, you need to just start developing and refining those skills a little bit. And we've seen Justin Tafa do that. Now, on the other side of that octagon, Austen Lane hasn't had the time to refine those skills, but he does a very well thing, and that's rely on his athleticism. This dude is long, lanky, knows how to use his body, and knows how to fight at range, even though he hasn't been doing it that long. Like I said, this guy started, I believe it was 2017. Mm-hmm. The last one has to go back after that, but he does use that length very well. The thing that scares me about him is he gets a little, with the length comes lankiness, and he doesn't always pull his guard back. If Justin Tafa can duck under, cut an angle, throw a hook, should be lights out. I mean, if you go back and you look at Austen Lane's history, he's been on the Dana White Contender Series twice. Mm-hmm. First L was to, who was the other one that came from the NFL?
Greg Hardy?
Greg Hardy. Yep, he has an L to Greg Hardy first time out of the Dana White Contender Series. And then he just had another L before he got his chance again in this one. It seems like the UFC is really trying to promote this guy and trying to get him into the UFC. Do you see another reason for that besides just the NFL tagline, Derick?
I mean, he's an athlete, bro. You want these guys in here. So the three losses, it's Greg Hardy in 2018, Frank Tate in 2018, and then Vernon Lewis in 2020, right? Two of those losses, first round. No, all three of them, they were first round knockouts, right? It's heavyweight. This is what happens. This is the name of the game. But this is the thing here, man. Austen Lane, who's to say he can't have a Greg Hardy moment? Greg Hardy came onto the scene. Everyone said, this dude can't fight, and he's just knocking everybody out. I just think intangibles alone, athleticism alone, you have to give Austen Lane a legitimate shot to win. You're fighting in Jacksonville. He's like, bro, I live like 10 minutes away from the hotel. There's no pressure. You are an NFL player. Like, these dudes are playing in front of, I don't even know how many people go to NFL games, but a lot. You know, those stadiums are packed. UFC is a different ball game. But then again, you're staring across from a short, stout, 6 foot, 74-inch reach Justin Tafa who takes people's heads off. And I think that it's tough because on paper, people probably look at this matchup and say, how do you not pick Austen Lane? But Justin Tafa has a fantastic chin. And I think this is the one thing that he'll be able to do to Austen Lane that he hasn't really seen before. He's going to put that tenured experience in the UFC from all of these fights that he's had, man. He's had a solid little bit now, and I think that he's just going to out-technique him at heavyweight.
Yeah, I mean, if all goes right, Derick, I see that exact same thing happening. That's why I was talking about the experience differential that's right there, because Justin Tafa has the skills in order to make you look slow, especially if you're just punching it where he is and not where he's going to be. I don't think Austen Lane, I mean, unless he proves it differently, I don't think he's at that point in his fighting career yet. He has a bunch of knockouts, LFA, a bunch of different ones. I forgot exactly which region or which promotion, but the dude's there. It's just Bad Man is a different level, and we've seen him continuously grow. I'm excited for this one, Derick. It is heavyweight, so anybody can go to sleep. You look at that prop, though. That TKO prop for the Bad Man does give me a little pause. You know, I don't know. What do you think, Derick? Is it a guaranteed knockout like the odds makers are saying?
If this does not go to knockout, I'm turning off my TV and I'm not watching any more UFC, bro. What are we talking about? Yes, someone has to get knocked out here. Give me the Bad Man. Give me the TKO. I want a first round TKO, bro. I don't think this lasts long whatsoever. But I would not be surprised to see an Austen Lane TKO as well. You cannot be mad at a man with intangibles the way that he has and athleticism that you know will at least last like the first 2 minutes of the first round. You know he's going to be on point for those first 2 minutes. So you got to give him that for sure. The last point that I wanted to make on this one, man, is this not 2023 Stefan Struve versus Mark Hunt? This is what you're asking for. We've seen it happen before. We know the big guy can fall. What do they say? What's the old proverb, AJ? The bigger they are, the harder they fall, right? That's all it is. Exactly. How do you see it, AJ?
I see it the exact same way, Derick. TKO, round one, gets it done. Man, if this ends in any other way besides TKO, like you said, Derick, I'm selling the house. I'm getting out of here. I'm done.
Bro, flying triangle, Justin Tafa. There we go. Let's go, baby. No, I'm just joking. All right, fun heavyweight bout right there. And then that's what's interesting is the progression of these bouts. Because this one right here, this is going to be fireworks at 145 pounds, right? This is arguably more exciting than the heavyweight bout that you're about to watch because David Onama he's a bad man himself. Yeah, he's coming off of a rough loss. But moments before that fight went south, he had Nate the Train Landwehr in a spot that we do not see the man very often. But then again, he's fighting a dude who arguably got robbed in his UFC debut, Gabriel Santos, right? He has to fight Leron Murphy. There we go. And I don't remember. And actually, let me see if I could pull it up really quick because I think this actually is pretty important. Where that fight took place against Leron Murphy was it was Edwards Usman 3. That was in the UK. So he got robbed on a split decision in the UK. I thought Santos won the fight. Personally, I think a lot of people had a little bit of an uproar with that. But let's just say you have a dangerous dude, flashy, athletic, submission specialist who can also showcase some improved striking versus kind of the opposite, man. Onama is so technical. He doesn't talk. He's not flashy. He just puts people on their butt when he punches them in their face. So I'm going to preface this, AJ, and I don't want to go on a tangent here. David Onama at plus 190, from a pure logic trained perspective, you jump on that all day long. I don't care if you're betting for Santos. You jump on that because he has been favorited in all of his other UFC fights. I think maybe except the Mason Jones fight. I'm not sure. I think he was even a favorite there. But this is the one time you get him at underdog price coming off of a bad loss. I see money to be had here. What do you think?
100%, Derick. Money all day long. David Onama in that kind of in that pick, like you said, plus 190. How could you not? Especially this guy is dangerous, crisp, technical, 1-2 down the pipe, however you want it. This guy throws leg kicks, body kicks, whatever you want. And what I like most of Derick, stays very strong in his defense, very sound. He's always, like you said, quiet. He's thinking, he's moving, he's playing chess in there. Onama's a completely different fighter than Santos is. Mm-hmm. Santos still smart, still technical in his own way, but wild. He's a wild man. He'll take you up and down, washing machine style of fight. This one's a lot of fun, and that's why I said earlier in the intro, Derick, this one was razor thin when I was coming down to choosing it, and it kind of did lead just because. Plus 190, David Onama, how can you not? This guy, favorite. I don't know. It's so hard to talk about because they're so different in styles, yet kind of the same in the tenacity and veracity they bring to the fight. You know, both of these dudes are going to come in and clash. Do you see a clash right here, Derick? We can see a little chess battle.
I see both simultaneously. I see a chess battle within the clash. And here's the thing. If you're taking anything from the Nate Landwehr fight, maybe you can say off night for Onama. It wasn't an off night until things got weird and Landwehr weathered the storm. It was a great night for Onama. But Gabriel Santos has that ability that Nate the Train does as well, to be in your face, to pressure you, to throw wild things at you. And the thing that concerned me the most, this was my biggest reason why I'm you have to take consideration into Santos here. Not because he's a favorite. You kind of saw, even though he came back in spurts in round 3, Onama kind of broke. He got broken physically and mentally against Nate Landwehr. And if Gabriel Santos can throw up crazy triangle attempts and spinning attacks and flying knees and counter with a knee straight to the body, come over with the right hand and then shoot for a double leg, if he can do that and keep his cardio for 3 rounds, who's to say Onama doesn't find himself in a similar water where those... AJ, this is the name of the show, Bloody Water Podcast. You find yourself in those deep, bloody waters, you find out what you're made of. We saw it in the last one. The question is Santos experienced enough at this level to do that to Onama?
I think he is, Derick. Maybe not experienced enough, but is he trained enough? Has he been doing it long enough behind closed curtains when it actually matters? And that's I think that's an answer to yes. Gabriel Santos is very much that wild man. And I'm actually curious how the mind game is going to be going for David Onama, because I think it had to have been the Nate Landwehr fight. His coach came back and even said, are you going to break right now? Or are you going to let him break you? And there was some more going to it. So will that all happen? Because I was at a Glory MMA. So is the coach there? Is he in a new camp? Who knows? That right there gets a little interesting for me personally, Derick.
Oh, and the great James Krause is brought back to life. Yes, James Krause was the lead man in his corner for the Landwehr fight. So there is that. All right, folks. So one thing that you got to take into consideration with this fight as well is that, listen, man, David Onama is UFC tested. That's what matters here. Gabriel Santos, on the other hand, has a lot of fights in these other promoters. Listen, this dude he might as well be undefeated at this point. But I think the reality of the situation is, what kind of fight are you looking for here? If you're looking for a technical chess match and it's simply that, you have to favor Onama. If you lean towards the wild style, you have to roll with not just, the people people who are backing Santos, but the odds makers. Plus 450 for the TKO, plus 250 for the decision, plus 200 for the submission, right? Onama, they're really saying if you don't knock him out, it might be a tough, sled in trying to get this win. So how does this fight end? Because on one hand, you can see a fight of the night decision. On the other hand, I could see somebody going to sleep or, getting knocked out, submitted, whatever. How do you see it?
I see it as a fight of the night decision, Derek, but looking at those decision props kind of skews what I'm thinking, because the old adage rings true. If you're fighting for a finish, you're not going to win a decision, and that's what the wild man Santos does. And to that same credit, Onama has the power to put you out at any point. So a knockout, a submission, a finish of some sort seems a little bit more likely. But I just expect both these guys just to go in there, perform at their highest peak. And that's why I was thinking fight of the night decision. I'm going to be a little risky, Derek. Give me that 550 David Onama decision.
All right, I see it. And this is one of those where I have to rock decision too, because Onama's 2 career losses has never been finished in those losses. And there was some tough moments against Jones and Landwehr. Santos only loss, like I said, that was a very controversial loss right there. So I like Santos decision. AJ's rolling with David Onama. Like I said, sometimes when I say these things, it sounds weird to me just because, historically, I have been such a big Onama backer. But that's neither here nor there. That's this week, UFC Jacksonville. That's what we're talking about. All right, man. And then the opening bout of the night, man. This is a bout where it's like if you're a real MMA fan, you have to be conflicted. This is Brendan All-In Allen, who has been looking in the most peak form that he has been in quite a long time. 4-fight win streak. Just submitted a third-degree black belt in Andre Muniz. But then you fight Bruno Silva, who AJ, after his loss to GM3, Alex Paeta, right? All right. Then GM3, where everyone's like, who is this guy? I thought he was good. What happened? He comes back against Brad Tavares and just beats the brakes off of that man. So Bruno Silva, it's fair to say, when he's on, he looks like a Terminator, legitimately. So my question to you is, who are you more confident in right now? And I'm not talking about who's going to win this fight. I'm talking about just as a pure destroyer. Are you more confident in Brendan Allen and his ability to mix it up? Or Bruno Silva, and even though he has the ability to mix it up, he just doesn't. He prefers to knock you out instead. What do you think?
I'm more confident in Brendan Allen's ability to be that monster in the cage, dude. This dude has had another switch, Derek. This whole episode is about switches being in people's mentality and their paradigm shifts, because Brendan Allen has really brought the thunder, bro. He's brought the pain to his opponents, and he's in there getting finishes. Like you said, a very impressive win against Muniz, an impressive submission RNC against Jocko. There's been some real good fights he's had, and I think it's all stemmed from that Chris Curtis loss. But to that coin, man, Bruno Silva, you get beat up twice. You're even thinking, where's my UFC career going? What's going to be happening? And then you put on a beautiful check right hook to Brad Tavares and basically put him out. I mean, there was some contention with the short stoppage or not, but I think it was only leading to more damage for Tavares. And Bruno Silva has that death touch. Another time I'm going to ask you, Derek, does Brendan Allen need to stay perfect while he's fighting Bruno Silva, or can he just get by? Will the chin hold up a little bit? Because I think Bruno Silva has that death touch. What do you think?
This is one of those moments where I cannot say with confidence that if Brendan Allen cannot avoid the big shot, I don't know if he gets up. Like, Brendan Allen is one of the toughest fighters you're going to come across. But Bruno Silva, you're right. Whatever you call it, death touch, fucking mystic power, whatever you want to call it, this dude has a gift from above where when he touches you, he's the definition of a finisher. As simple as that. If you look at, and folks, this is, you have a good fighter on your hands when you have to bring up the Tapology page and you just have to go run through it. Brother, look at this. 20 knockout victories. How many wins? 23. This dude is just nonstop. Yeah, I have a couple losses, but I'm just destroying everybody else, man. First round, nonstop. Go down the list. It doesn't matter. The reason why I bring this up is not to discredit a Brendan Allen or anything, but it's when Bruno Silva is on. Like, when I watch him and he knocks somebody out effortlessly and just jogs back around the cage and is just like, oh, yeah, I just knocked. This is what I do. Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, that was my 20th career knockout. It's like Alex Paeta-esque. He's the only guy, by the way, right, who was able to take all those shots from Paeta and still weather the storm. Didn't win, but that's why this is so hard. You realize, AJ, right, we're both big fans of these fighters, but, like, that's what makes this hard is because Bruno Silva has one hole in his game that he's a Gregory Rodriguez. He just won't use his grappling. The man can grapple. What happens when Brendan Allen puts him on his back and then just starts working his game?
Well, then he's forced to bring out the jiu-jitsu, Derick. This will be one of the things that Silva is forced to do in this fight, because I think Brendan Allen will be working the up and down, the takedown. How proficient will Bruno Silva be on the ground? I don't know, because you're right. We haven't seen it. We've seen him fall in love with the power. And to his credit, bro, he's the only one that's been able to stand up to the power of Alex Baeta. So I don't think the power of Brendan Allen is going to be a problem. Will that ground game really come into effect? Will that be the tide that turns, Derick?
If you're asking me, yes, 100%. I feel like that is what makes or break the fight. It's Brendan Allen getting Bruno Silva down and doing what he did to Andre Muniz, who is a certified finisher, and he made a third-degree black belt look kind of silly on the ground, right? If he could do that to Bruno Silva, that's the easiest path to victory. Why am I going to try to eat the death touch when I can just take you down, right? And I can just put the backpack on you and I can work my grappling. I don't know. It's tough, man. Honestly, I really do think if Silva lands one clean one, fight's over. If Brendan Allen could get him to the ground and really work his magic, fight's over. I think submission, literally. I think it's either Brendan Allen is going to submit him or TKO him on ground and pound, or Bruno Silva just a clean hook, maybe a straight, something like that. And listen, to bring up the odds and stuff again, bro, look at these odds. Plus 160 for the submission, plus 265 for the TKO in favor of Bruno Silva. Look at the submission prop for Silva, plus 2,500. So we're talking about grappling. Clearly, they're like, submit Brendan Allen? Yeah, right. Like, okay. So, I mean, shoot, man. The only one I have to call into question is plus 300 decision for Brendan Allen. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that one is interesting. I see him being the more technical fighter consistently, so even if it does go to the third round, I think Brendan Allen stays sharper. Bruno Silva, with those big movements, with all that power, you do have your foot on the gas pedal a little bit more. Damn, yeah, it's interesting because I see it. Obviously, Brendan Allen has been more proficient on the ground as well. Will Bruno Silva be able to pull something out? It looks like the odds makers, man, plus 2,500. Not at all. They're agreeing with you, and even being outclassed in the decision. Yeah, man. I mean, personally, I got to rock I'm sorry. I got to rock submission. My bad.
Yeah.
I was looking at the TKO prop for Bruno Silva. I got to work submission, plus 160 for Brendan Allen. Man, give it to me early, round one.
Yeah, man, I'm going to rock with the submission for Brendan All-In Allen as well. And this, honestly, is going to be a testament, folks, just so you have, like, context behind why this pick. It's not because, like we said, it's razor thin. That's the way that we're looking at this. This might as well be a toss-up. Do I see Brendan Allen as a minus 190 favorite? I think that's kind of one of the most ridiculous odds that I've seen, just because of how dangerous Bruno Silva is. But Brendan Allen has shown to us time and time and time again, like, this dude is no joke. You have to stop sleeping on him. This dude is ready for top 15, if not top 10. Like, that's how game he is. And I think he's going to prove it on Saturday night. So with that being said, AJ, any last words on this one? Or are you ready to move on?
Folks, if you haven't had an opportunity to know how big of a fan Brendan Allen is, he's been on the dark horse for Derick for probably the whole entire 2-3 years we've been doing this, folks. Go check the history tapes. We've been telling you. And Brendan Allen may be taking the slow route, but he will be at the top very, very soon.
That's right. That's right. I mean, literally, check the tapes, man. Check the archives. Y'all know what time it is. And listen, from that moment, we're going to take you to, once again, the most coveted aspect of the program, taking the unknowns of today, who are going to be the stars of tomorrow, and we about to break it down, baby. So let's get it.
It's time for some fight night.
And if you ain't paying attention, you're going to sleep on me and I'm going to wake you up.
All right, AJ, you know what the deal is. Sleepers, baby. It's time to talk about it, man. And I have to, AJ, if you don't mind, let me grace this first, right? Let me take over and let me just go ahead. Because I have to introduce the world to a fighter who I don't think they know about. And I'm surprised that they don't know about him, because this is arguably going to be the most UFC-ready fighter who is making his UFC debut that I've seen in a long time. And I'm not talking about UFC-ready in terms of like talent and skill, even though that's there too. But like, you fought all the UFC guys and you're not in the UFC. And folks, I'm talking about Trevor Peek versus Chepe Mariscal. And this is the guy I'm talking about, Mariscal. Listen. This dude right here, he putting on for La Raza. He fights with a pure Mexican heart and style. And what I want to do is I want to roll down the hit list really quick for you, because y'all don't understand. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, you see some wins, some losses. And arguably all the UFC guys, you're losing to almost all of them. But still, Sean Soriano, UFC. Steve Garcia, UFC. Joe Anderson Brito, UFC. Yosef Zalal, you got to win, UFC. Pat Sabatini, remember that guy who just beat up Lucas Almeida, made it look easy work? A split decision win, UFC. You got the win. Let's keep going. Carl Deaton, no contest, fight doesn't count, UFC. Bryce Mitchell, Thug Nasty, UFC. I mean, bro, that's the point that I'm trying to make here is I just listed off right now, like what, how many, like 6 UFC fighters, maybe 7 UFC fighters, and he's barely breaking in to make his debut on, I believe, short notice against a dude in Trevor Peek, man, who's throwing bricks and hammers at your head all day long. Forgive me, AJ, I believe that you made Trevor Peek your sleeper for his UFC debut, and you delivered. You delivered more than anybody could have delivered on the history of this program. Trevor Peek is going to run at you with flying hammer fists. Chepe Mariscal is going to meet you in the middle of the octagon, and somebody is going to sleep. I don't want to show y'all anything else. If that's not a 60-second bar pitch right there, I don't know what is. Tune into this fight, folks. This is going to be a banger. AJ, give me some thoughts.
Woo, folks, there's going to be blood painted on the walls, on the canvas, first, second, third row. You better be happy because this is going to be a war, and you're right, Derick, bro. This is going to be fun. I picture them meeting in the middle, having a good old-fashioned swing and bang. It's going to be a lot of fun. I also got one on my side, bro. The sleeper on my side, folks. You can see it right there. Tatsuro Taira versus Klidson Rodriguez. And there's one reason, literally one reason why I picked this fight as a sleeper, folks. Finishers. We got finishers on both sides, whether it's Taira as a submission specialist or whether it's Rodriguez that has absolute bombs in his hands, bro. This is going to be a fun one in the flyweight division. Tune in, folks. Whether you like, classic kung fu or whether you like brawling, this one has everything. You want to see somebody get a leg snapped. A lot of people right there, Derick showing you 70% thinks Taira has a submission. But don't forget, Rodriguez has that X factor, folks. Absolute power in the hands, puts you to sleep, whether it's hitting you in the body or the head. This one's going to be a fun one. Tune in. And I don't know if Derick said it before. I know we said it off tape, but there's an absolute sleepers of an entire prelim. It's an early fight. It's on ABC. Tune in early. Wake up. It's like we're kids, Derick. Instead of watching Saturday morning cartoons, we get Saturday morning fights, brother.
That's right, baby. And that's what I'm looking for, man. That's what it's all about right there, because you are right. When does this fight start? 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, man. Sheesh. Bright and early. So I will say this. We have just enough time to run down these prelims, but Klidson Rodriguez, according to Tapology, has like a 6% chance of winning. That speaks levels to Tatsuro Taira, because this dude legitimately, like, Klidson Rodriguez is one of the biggest, like, hyped dudes right now. So to have a 6% chance to win, that shows you how good that dude Taira is. I think he's both him and Topuria, 13-0 on the card right now. So with that being said, AJ, let's talk about a couple of prelims. Okay, let's talk about some prelims. All right, man. So when I roll down this one, this is what you need to know, folks. When you have a featured prelim that consists of Neil Magny and Phil Rowe, you know you got a banging card right there. There's some heat behind this one, too. If you watch Phil Rowe's interview, his pre-fight presser, he said, Neil Magny's weird. UFC fighters are weird. I knock people out. I'm the star the UFC needs to promote. Y'all are haters. There's real heat, bro. Who do you like on this one?
Ooh, I like Phil Rowe, man.
Yeah.
Get him a nasty in there too, man. I was trying to think of a good nickname for him, but I like him, bro. He's got heavy hands, but so does Neil Magny. I will say Neil Magny's been slipping as of late. I forget his exact record right now, but give me Phil Rowe. What about you, Derick?
Yeah, Neil Magny, 27-10. But Phil Rowe, man, I think this dude is good. I think he talks a big talk, but I think he delivers it as well. One of the most highly decorated jiu-jitsu practitioners the UFC has to offer at the moment right now. He had mentioned it before, too. He was like, bro, I had cornered Jacare multiple times in the UFC before I actually got here. I got experience. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to take over. And I'm looking for that $50K bonus, too. So let's get it. Now, right before that, Randy the Rude Boy Brown versus Wellington Turman. Another banger right here. I don't think that this one goes to a decision. What do you think?
I don't think so at all, Derick. That was one I was going to bring up. If it wasn't second on the prelim or second to the top of the prelims, brother, this would have been a sleeper, because I'm glad there's no way this got buried with the rest of them. Rude Boy Randy Brown against the absolute power of Thurman, brother. This is going to be a lot of fun and a very diverse set. Don't just think Thurman's there to brawl. This dude can get to the ground game as well.
Yeah, fantastic jiu-jitsu right there. Underneath this is how stacked this is, bro. People probably don't know about these two guys, Rebecca and I'm gonna butcher my man's name. Former PFL dude. This dude is so good. Both of these guys are so good. Someone's going to sleep in this fight, but we do got some grappling opportunities as well. 17-1 for Rebecca, 17-4-1 for Radzhabov. Y'all need to circle this fight. This would have been one of my sleepers if y'all like. This is a sleeper for sure. Not nearly as violent, I think, as the Trevor Peek and Chepe Mariscal was going to be, but I was like, bro, this is a good fight. AJ, let me just ask you. Let's be real about it, man. How familiar are you with these fighters?
I know Rebecca a lot more than Radzhabov, but either way, folks, don't let the weird names fool you. These guys can scrap.
That's part of it, though, right? That's why it's so undercover, because they're like, who is the like Russian random guy? Yes, and they are bangers too, absolutely. Of course, underneath that, folks, y'all know if there weren't so many good fights, this obviously would have been my sleeper. Baby Shark, Tafa Ricci versus the savage Jillian Robertson. AJ, this is jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu. This is wrestling versus wrestling. I'm curious to who's going to be the more well-rounded striker in this matchup. Is it going to be Robertson or Ricci? What do you think?
Oh, man. It's hard to bet against Jillian Robertson. I think she'll be the more technical striker, Derick. I expect Tafa Ricci to have the pressure and have the control and really put Jillian Robertson on her back foot. That's kind of what she's best at. She goes by Baby Shark. Let's hope she can put on that kind of pressure as Shark does. Who do you like?
This is a tough one, man, because I'm a big fan of both of these fighters. I like Jillian Robertson, though. I'm going to take Jillian Robertson in this one. And it's funny because they both have a little bit of a little heat behind this one. I don't know if you've been following, but Robertson's camp is like, look at Ricci. She's over there doing CrossFit championships, man. We over here doing MMA. Like, let's fucking go, right? And then Ricci on the other side, man, I think that her thought process is y'all are just scrubs on my way to the championship. Like, I'm just going to surpass everybody. This is going to be a fun fight for sure. Grappling heavy, grappling intensive. But Ricci, she's a star, bro. Jillian Robertson, I just think is a little under-respected in regards to her skill set. But fantastic fighter. We already talked about some good ones. My boy is Zhalgas Zhumagulov. I can't even talk about this fight because he's been getting jinxed left and right. Every fight falling through. We're not talking about it. Let's hope my man Zhalgas with the bowl cut gets a fight. AJ, sneaky. Jamal Emmers and Jack Jenkins, man. This is another banger right here. The ever-technical Jamal Emmers. He gets Jack Jenkins, who is a star in the making right here. I don't know who to pick because Jamal Emmers will bring the upset every time you discount him. So who do you like here?
That's what I'm thinking, Derick. I like Jamal Emmers. It's rough that Jack Jenkins has to have this in his second fight, is literally walking in and arguably against the first fight of a known, a legitimate, time-tested, and I mean Jamal Emmers to that point. You know, he's still on the newer side of his career as well, but still very much the experience differential is there. Yeah. I like Jamal Emmers, but don't count out the power to Jenkins, bro. I could see a knockout happening in this fight as well.
Bro, the craziest thing is that Jamal Emmers, in his opinion, he's like, nobody knows me. I'm unknown. And I was like, you don't understand. People respect you, bro. Like, you're a beast. But in his head, he's like, I'm just some nobody. I'm like, yeah, all right, man. Okay, and then to kick us off, bro, this could be a sleeper too. Cody Brundage versus Cedriques Dumas. And Cedriques Dumas, controversial figure and all that, man. In his last fight, his UFC debut, he fought, and I have to pull this up for you guys because it was not a bad fight. Josh Fremd, right? That was at the Virgin. That was right here down the street in Vegas, right? He ended up getting guillotined. He got finished by Josh Fremd, who was all about keeping it on the feet and all that. But Cedriques Dumas, man, if he can keep it on the feet, or excuse me, Fremd wanted to keep it on the ground, but if Dumas can keep it on the feet, he's gonna like wheel kick Cody Brundage's head off, bro, or something crazy like that. And this is another matchup. This is kind of the same one getting back. If Brundage could keep it on the ground, I could see a finish here. What do you think?
The power wrestling of Brundage is something to be talked about. Will the range, or will Dumas be able to control the range, Derick? I don't know. I like Brundage in this one personally. It's hard to go with the wrestler personally, but I got Brundage. What about you?
I just think that Cedriques Dumas, man, has the athleticism and skill set that if he lands the big one, it's game over. No matter how much wrestling you do. If he can get back up to his feet, and he's probably going to be pissed off from his last fight where he just got wrestled up, he's probably going to be like, yeah, we worked a little takedown defense. So, all right, folks, with that being said, we told you that this is going to be a stacked prelim card. This is just a fun card overall. So shoot, man, let's get up out of here, man. I'm overexcited. You feel me? I'm uber excited here. Fun fights, UFC Jacksonville. They took it on the road. They stacked the card. It's going to be a good one. And this is actually leading up to our next fight, man, who's going to be, oh, damn, man. You remember, this is going to be Abu Strickland versus Magomedov, right? And it's going to be a interesting headlined card. But neither here nor there. Just know, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? AJ, talk to the people. What do they need to do?
Folks, hit that subscribe button if we win you some money. As long as we win you money over here, what's the hard thing? Click a button, share it with your friends, jump in the comment section. Folks, we said it a couple times on this podcast, on the show right now. We're your favorite fighter's favorite fight show for a reason. We bring the stars of tomorrow. We're talking about them today. Point in case, Jamal Emmers. You're watching videos about yourself, brother. We've been talking about you for years. Well known, well respected. And like I said, folks, we're winning y'all money. So hit that subscribe button, share it with your friends. Don't be stingy, share that cash and post it in the comment section. Let us know how much you winning over here, all right?
That's right. I couldn't have said it better myself. So to lead us on out, folks, that is it for us this time. Catch us on Monday for the UFC Jacksonville post show to recap the havoc at hand. Until next time, folks. Peace.